Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life is a Piano. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to be chatting with keyboardist Craig Avery. Now, I've known Craig for a while now. We're both alumni from Grand Valley State University, and even more specifically, we're both alumni of the New Music Ensemble. We both gig around the scene a ton. You can see him with cover bands like Brena, voted the best of West Michigan, that is, for their work gigging all around the state. If you enjoyed today's conversation and you want to contribute to my podcasting efforts, you can head on over to patreon.com/Dutcher Snedeker. There, you can give as little as $5 to get early access to podcast episodes, exclusive merch, and more. If you're looking for something to do after this podcast, you can always head on over to DutcherSnedeker.com for more content. All right, let's get into today's conversation with Craig Avery.
Yeah, so what's up?
Oh, I don't know, doing the podcasting thing, playing some gigs. I just found out I have more dates at the listening room coming up.
Yeah, man, I gotta come check out one of these nights. I see you posting about it on Instagram all the time. And how's that been going?
It's been going good. The last couple weeks were canceled because of a COVID case in the kitchen beneath the venue. But other than that, it's been, Friday, Saturday, trios since beginning of March, and then I did some solo stuff the couple weekends before that.
Sweet.
And yeah, we for sure have dates in May. I don't know if it'll go further into the summer because they want to do outdoor events. But
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna just keep seeing when I could do this.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. How's I don't know, you have things going on in spite of a pandemic, I'm sure.
yeah, well, starting to. So we went from like doing hardly anything at all to like all of a sudden we're having all these events, and places are opening up. We've got weddings, we've got golf club member parties and things like that. So it's like I'm not used to it yet. It's like I was so used to like being dormant, just like playing video games all day, to like being like back at it. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment, I think for everybody,
Yep.
Like setting up our PA equipment. It's like, oh, where does this cable go? Like, what channel do I plug into? It's like we had to relearn.
What do I do?
So it's been a challenge, but we're getting used to it again. So.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've been feeling with trying to get back in the swing with Earth Radio. We have some things booked, other things are kind of in the works, but it's so nebulous with like who's working where, who's still open, who's open and still doing music. Like just kind of sussing that out has been its own issue.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what about like, have you heard anything about like music festivals or any kind of, outdoor concerts, gatherings, that kind of thing? Anything on the schedule?
The only two I want to check in with, like Farm Block and Harvest and some of these other festivals that they might have been thinking about this since last year. Well, I'm sure every festival has, but the only ones that are on the calendar for us, we had a date at the Montague Band Shell that got moved to July, from July of last year to July of this year. And then Mark Lavengood is part of a new festival in Truffant, Michigan, which I guess it's close to Coral, Michigan, where Mark lives, which is like center-ish Michigan somewhere.
All right.
So we're for sure on that. And then I know we're working on getting a slot at Pond Jam just because it's something and it's got a lot of our friends playing it. But that is until September, so they have a ways
okay. Yeah.
ways to plan stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, I'm excited to have you and your jazz trio play my wedding in September.
Oh
That's
yeah.
Can't wait for that, man. We're really looking forward to that. I've been talking you guys up, man. You guys are awesome. You're awesome.
Yeah, I'm
So
glad that with the trio too, like just having these dates at the listing room, it feels like having a regular set of people rather than just like, oh, this bass player's free, this drummer's free, we'll play standards and go our separate ways. Like, it's nice having like a core group.
oh yeah, man, because then you could really work on arrangements and probably original material too, right?
Yeah, just get it all like, just figured out in a way that at least I guess with both trios that I'm involved in, it's like everyone can read. It's enough of a level to like make charts, and everyone has the independent practice habits already. So there's no like, oh, the only rehearsal is when we're rehearsing the tunes all together. It's like people work on their stuff.
Right. They do their wood sitting at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, it's interesting. I was listening to your podcast with Caleb. Just to get a kind of idea of what you've been doing with those. But that was really cool to hear what he was up to with all the different projects and marketing himself online with a social media presence and all that. Which I mean, you're doing awesome with that stuff. You're just like everywhere. I wish I had
definitely trying.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome, man. Exhausting, right? I'm sure on top of everything else that you're used to normally doing. But
yeah, it's definitely like trying to find a balance. I know the one thing that, especially because of this past year, that the habit I need to reform is how on top of my email I am again.
Oh yeah.
Just like I'm so used to like, oh, okay, there was one thing that came in as an offer and it's been like 4 days, like, okay, let's respond to that. And now it's like, everyone's trying to book further ahead.
Right.
And I need to like actually answer emails.
yeah, for sure. Dude, did you have like last year when the pandemic hit and everything got canceled or postponed, were you just like inundated with emails saying, oh, hey, we got to cancel this, we got to postpone this, and then trying to work out like dates to reschedule and all that? Did you have that problem?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that problem. I definitely had, not so much for one band. It was just kind of like, like Earth Radio had some dates that were just straight up canceled, no reschedule. Some were moved to remote. Like, oh, we'll send it a video set and we'll put it on a big playlist for the virtual festival. And some of it was like, oh, okay, there's no, like our show, we had a show at Bell's that got moved and then canceled. They got moved to the fall and then canceled. And then, I had a tour with Brad Fritcher was going to come visit, and we were going to do a Midwest tour with his project Moods, and that would have been like a 10-day stretch and just something fun, and then it got canceled.
Such a bummer, man. Oh my gosh, last year was just like awful.
Yeah, just all, and seeing friends come back here who were like, they're like, oh, I was part of a sound company that did festivals and all this stuff, and now I'm just here and that's it.
Yeah, just existing, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I know it's crazy. Like last year, because like with Brena, we do like on a normal year we'll do like 150 shows or something, and like I don't know, 40 plus weddings. I think we played like 4 weddings last year, and everything else got postponed to either 2021 or 2022. And it was just like, it was crazy, man, trying to organize everything to where, okay, this wedding's rescheduled for this date, make sure that it doesn't conflict with, something else. And oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. So
Yeah.
it was, I don't wish that, I hope that doesn't happen again this year. So far so good. We haven't had any cancellations yet, knock on wood, but yeah. Did you get your bags? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say I keep seeing with certain, like Blue Water King seems to be the one where like I get stuff scheduled way in advance and then stuff gets moved way in advance. So I'll have, I think right now I have like some June weddings that are being rescheduled for next year.
Oh, damn. Already, huh?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess, is this going to be another 6 wedding summer, or is it
Oh
like,
my god, I hope
like
not.
who knows?
Yeah.
But I did get vaccinated. I just got my second shot.
Nice. Did you have any side effects?
Yeah, the first day it was interesting because I had like, I had my shot I think around 11 that day, and about 11, 12 hours later I started feeling symptoms, just like super achy. And then the next day my fever, I had a fever that spiked, and then it was like, it reached a point where it was bad, and then it just got better, and I was like tired and way less sore, no headache, no fever, and that was like by 6. So
Oh, wow.
It was a weird like just shot of
that's crazy, man, because like the only side effect I had was like I had a sore arm, and then I was just a little fatigued. I didn't have like a fever or headache or anything. But it felt like somebody punched me like with brass knuckles like in my arm. It hurt so bad,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was fortunate not to have any like flu-like symptoms after it. But man, feels good to be like part of the solution, right?
yeah, it was funny though. The nurse, like, is an older nurse who or volunteer, I assume nurse, but she gives me the shot, and she was like, all right, here's your second shot, I guess, for now. And I'm like, yeah, there's probably gonna be like a booster, like a new strain, or
right. Right. I know, I kind of figured it'd be like the annual flu shot, with all the variants and just trying to combat the changes in the virus. So it is what it is. This is our new normal, I guess, right?
Yeah. Which, I'm interested to see, like, because at least from what I experienced last summer, certain environments just kind of exist, like they exist outside of, like festivals aren't like a normal occurrence, like in terms of like what a festival, I get, like a festival community, like get together for a weekend. It's hyper focused on like music and other activities. But I'm interested to see how like what a festival climate looks like when it's, a mixed batch of music fans. It's most of them are outdoors, but there's still, a lot of the same like I don't know,
social
like
distancing.
Yeah, like trying to be social distance conscious, or like, how everyone's bringing their own pod, but there's like 10 dozen pods.
Yeah.
Or however many pods.
Yeah, I know. I'm anxious to see how that works out too. Yeah, because last year we did some outdoor concerts towards the end of the summer, once people kind of, I don't know, got used to the new normal we were in and trying to figure out how to have live performances. We did this one concert for Kentwood community, and it was on the lawn of this big field, and they painted little circles on the grass, and you had like your group of 6 people max that could fit in there, and they were spaced out like 6 feet apart, and they had a maximum of like 100 or 150, whatever the restrictions were at the time. But it was fun. It was like, well, cool, this is possible. We can have outdoor performances and be safe, or at least feel safe. and I think it was recommended that people wear masks while they're still seated, of course. But yeah, I don't know. Did you play anything like that last year, or where there was still that ability to play, but
The there's some, I mean, like, I did a couple that were like outdoors. There wasn't really anything set up in terms of like circles with social distancing. The stages were usually kind of small, but people were, they'd give distance to the band or any of
yeah,
the bands that were playing.
sure.
Weddings were always a mixed bag
Yeah.
because we just have like, like we'd have the signage, we'd have like, hey, if you want to make requests, write it on the clipboard, like don't approach the singers during a set to ask about the Spotify playlist. And
Right.
we had one wedding that was like, we were almost in the clear, even though we had given a couple warnings to the wedding party, because we do have it set up where if we don't feel like things are safe for the band, we can end the night and just go. It's
Oh
like in
wow.
our contracts.
Okay.
And we had it where uh we were like at the end of the night, everything was going as well as it could go. Some things were like, one of the warnings was like, during the set break, the bridal party was like using our equipment as like karaoke.
Oh
And
man.
and we're just like, we said don't go out on the stage and you're doing way more than that.
Oh my
and
gosh.
uh
That's what
and
happens
we
when alcohol gets involved, right? People do crazy things.
yeah, it definitely was like, because the last warning was like, like Serena was on stage and she was being like, hey, we've given you like a bunch of warnings, and this is when like three people are all around her, like like
Oh
getting up in her face, like trying to grab the mic, like just being wild. And
yeah.
they luckily the people running the wedding, I think the father of the husband was like coordinating everything, and um he totally understood. Even after he had already tipped us to like do an encore set, and we were like, no, this is we're like, the singers are leaving. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we've already given you enough warnings.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy, man. We haven't really had to deal with anything like that where people are invading our space, which is I'm actually shocked that it hasn't really happened. But I mean we have played some weddings where they're dancing. I mean you can't prevent them from dancing. It's like they're there, they hired the band and that's what they wanted to do, and
Yeah.
kind of take that risk, I guess. I mean, my understanding is that majority of the people at this particular wedding were vaccinated, so I don't know if that counts towards any herd immunity or whatever. But I
Right.
mean, that was a while ago. I haven't heard anything about an outbreak or anything, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, I had a weird where like I played one wedding, and then I saw the couple from that wedding with other members of that party at another wedding. And then I saw people from that wedding at a different wedding. And I'm like, is it just four families getting married right now?
Oh my gosh,
It
there's like
was like the only time that's ever happened. Like, like even just like, you'd think like circumstantially, like, oh, I do weddings in the same city. Like, somebody's bound to be at this wedding I've seen, but
yeah,
yeah, that was crazy.
that is crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, that's awesome, man. So like, okay, so what else did you do during quarantine? Like I had some things that I did, but I wanted to see, like, I know you did like some video what do you call it, virtual concerts and stuff. How many of those did you do? We only did a couple with the band.
Yeah, Earth Radio did. We did the WYC series at Wealthy Theater. That was one stream. We submitted for virtual harvest gathering and virtual farm block. And then we did one co-bill stream with Desmond Jones for Rockford Brewing Company.
Okay.
I think that was all that the band. Yeah, I think that's all we did that last summer. And yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm thinking, what else did I mean, I started doing more album reviews, just freelance charging album reviews.
Okay.
I got an office at Third Coast Recording Company, so I go out there to do whatever projects I need to do and do work for the studio. And I've been doing, I think pretty much since I started my Patreon in December, I've been doing, aside from I took 2 weeks off because of Easter, and then I had taken the previous week off. I do Sundays at 2, just some sort of keyboard concert for an hour.
Yeah, cool.
So just filling in gaps of of a schedule.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have like a church gig on Sundays?
No, I was like keeping an ear open, but I also don't mind having my Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
I've been, because I've been out of a church job since, the latter half of 2018.
Okay.
So it's also kind of an interesting, like what do I do when I don't have, a Sunday, this chunk of the day, and then, a Thursday rehearsal or like a Saturday special event or.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting to, especially like in West Michigan, to not have a church job.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I think Baldwin Street in Hudsonville holds like the Guinness Book of World Records for most churches on, I don't know, how many miles on one road.
I believe that.
Yeah, there's like a church like every 50 yards or something. It's crazy. I've been fortunate enough to maintain a church residency throughout COVID. Like, they shut down for a while. They didn't have in-person services. They did strictly online streaming.
Okay.
And then when some of the restrictions got lifted, they allowed people back in, with all the COVID protocols, wear masks, 6 feet apart, all that stuff. But it's that really was like my only outlet for music for a while, because the band Brena wasn't gigging, there was really nothing going on for a bit, especially during the winter months. So that was it, man. It was actually really cool. Like Daybreak Church is a church I play at. And it's cool, man. They got like a big LED screen in the back, and they put all kinds of videos and images on the screen. It's really cool. But like, yeah, man, we played like, secular music, like rock music, like Journey, or Styx. We played Styx a couple weeks ago. And then we play like worship music as well. But
right.
But yeah, man, that was my sole music outlet, aside from like working my choir accompanist job at East Kentwood High School. I go there a couple of weeks and work with them, and that, oh my gosh, that's been a challenge, because do you have a high school job or a accompanist job?
No, the closest I've come, at least recently, at the end of each semester, there's always, someone who's like, I didn't think about an accompanist, and my jury's next week.
Oh yeah.
Like I get a bunch of those, and I couldn't do it this month for, like, I had gotten all these emails for like, could you do the 23rd or 24th? And those days were like, I was already laid up from the second shot.
Oh yeah.
Like, I can't really commit to it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Are they even doing like juries and recitals at like Grand Valley, for example? Have you heard?
I've heard from, at least from Western folks, that some of it's in person and they have to like retool how things are scheduled out, but most of the things that can be virtual are virtual.
Okay.
I've seen that at MSU too. There was this pianist I want to actually chat with, because she plays with John Muir Cotton, the bass player I hire for the listening room. And her name's Sequoia something. And she just had her recital, but it was like at Troubadour recording studio. They just set up cameras and just did a live session. And that was like, it was interesting because that's like, it was like content that they could use for, clips. And then it was also fulfilling a school requirement. And I'm like, this should just be an option going forward.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah, like promotional materials, right?
yeah, like, I mean, I get the idea of like having a live concert, but there's also like, they still learned having to like do a recital virtually, like, oh, where do we record it? We got to get video, we got to get everything edited and synced and stuff. And
Yeah, proper audio,
so,
miking and all that. Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
so I've seen that. I haven't seen a lot of like I don't know what it looks like for um large ensemble requirements or concerts or anything. Like, I don't really know like what the new music ensemble's doing. They've
Yeah.
been doing some remote videos, but not super frequently. And yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I had the privilege of working with Ted Mall. You know Ted, right? From Western Community College.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was doing these virtual like choir concerts, band concerts, where he'd have all the students record to a click. They'd have the score in front of them, and they'd record themselves playing their part. And then he would take all that video and audio and put it together in like a huge, like, multi-screen video with all the students playing. And it turned out really, really good. I think he's done 2 or 3 of them so far. And they've been just huge works of, I mean, just the amount of hours and effort to put that kind of work into a video like that. It's just crazy. And like, Kevin Dupree, he did all
Oh,
the
yep.
mixing and editing and all that. And yeah, I played keyboards for it. I recorded some vocal stuff. But yeah, it's really cool, man. I'll send you a link to the performances. But I feel like that's one outlet for choirs and bands to do it. It's kind of tough. Like at East Kentwood High School, like a good percentage of the kids are at home, like doing choir virtually, and then the other percentage of them are in school learning and rehearsing together. But like that's such a challenge. How do you like educate the kids at home and then have them rehearse with the in-person choir? Like they have to make recordings of themselves singing their part for a grade, but they're not necessarily like performing with anybody, so it's just a weird dynamic, man. It's just, I feel bad for students now, because they can't have like normal rehearsals, normal concerts. They're not even having a concert this year. Like right now they'd be preparing for their Pops concert, so they'd be preparing a dance routine for all the songs they're doing, light show, all this stuff, all this production, and they're just not doing it this year. And I feel so bad for all these kids because I feel like they're missing out on a huge part of their high school experience.
Yeah, it's like it's weird, like hearing from musician teachers, like things like standardized testing that they're like, yeah, that's gotta come back. And it's like, yeah, sure, that's what kids need. That's what they've been missing is like a super stressful part of their already stressful like crazy year of school. Like it's yeah, because I was thinking about that with because I live where I live in GR. I'm close to where City High School is now.
Yeah,
But
that's where you.
it wasn't. Yeah, it was a school I went to, but it wasn't that building. So
Okay.
it's like a weird, like, oh, that's the school sort of that I went to.
Okay.
But I think of like all the times that, like, oh, I'm in a band with friends and we're playing prom or something, or I'm solo ensemble, or jazz band concerts or talent show, like just all these things that were like music community. It was part of the high school experience type thing. You think it's like, it's like, this is it, like every moment's just like this huge high point. So to
Sure.
like have a year that's just kind of like clicking a computer and being tuned into like various laggy bits of a Zoom call is like, that's hard to like rip out that rug from people.
Oh my gosh, I know, man. I feel so bad for students at any level right now. It's just not, we're not meant to learn online. We're not meant to, there needs to be that in-person, like tangible experience, and to do it over a video screen, it's just like, what are we doing? But I mean, that's how it is right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to have that like that kind of those little course correcting moments too, that it happened just naturally working on a thing or working in a space, like as a group. That's hard to do with like some people having good internet, some people having
Yeah.
like a decent webcams, like
Right. Right.
it's all over the place.
Yeah, I know. And being isolated at home, it's like you don't have anybody there in person to point out, oh, you did this incorrect. Let's fix that. Or,
Yeah.
you're kind of on your own to educate yourself in a way, which is not not how we're supposed to do it.
No, it's I can't, I hear the stories of like, how like at Western, I think it's, you have to, for every hour of rehearsal time, you need a half hour of nobody in the room and just letting the air flow kind of cleanse it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
So scheduling things is, I can't imagine even just with that, like you've got, like 3 wind ensembles and an orchestra and a jazz, like 2 different jazz bands and a lab band and choirs. And it's like, okay, we have X amount of hours with half-hour breaks in between during the school day. Like that's what, like 6 rehearsals, maybe 5 rehearsal slots.
Yeah. All that time
just like,
just wasted
yeah,
time. Oh my
I
gosh.
can't, and like, and to have those rehearsals and to know that like you don't really know, like, are you competing? Probably not, unless it's remotely or something. Are you traveling with this music to another school for a concert? Like probably
Right.
not, because they're not doing concerts.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, what are you rehearsing for? There's no performance. There's no final, accumulation of all of your hard work. There's no way to no. There's no outlet for it, right?
No
You can't
payoff.
no payoff, exactly. So it's like that's the other thing is you get these kids in rehearsal and they're just like kind of just going through the day. It's just another day, like all kind of blend together and there's no goal. There's no like end game. It's just like, oh, we're just doing this to fill our time and finish out the school year. It's like, oh my gosh.
And well, and I think of like back when I was at City, the superintendent at the time thought it would be a great idea to try a hub system for all the arts in the GRPS school. And it, he had been saying like, oh, it'll save, we'll save money. It'll, aggregate. He basically took each art, instead of each school having like, a visual arts, a band, a choir, whatever, it was like, all right, all of the music arts are at City, all of the visual arts are at this school, all of the theater arts is at it's all at that school. And
Whoa.
then people were like, they were provided busing to their hubs, and if you were a freshman you had to pick a hub, and hubs were after school.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a weird way to like it's like his idea was like, okay, we'll get kids used to this after school system thing, and then they'll still stay in the band program. But all it did was like, kids would just end up across town with, they'd have to figure out busing or a way to get home.
Yeah.
All of the arts kind of suffered because it took away, like, the people who would do like band and orchestra and choir during school, they wouldn't be able to do sports. So it was either, oh, the sports teams are suffering, or the music programs are suffering.
Yeah, that seems kind of bizarre. You think that you'd have everything in one place, because then you have the opportunity of maybe collaborating within those departments, right? But to have it separated like that, I don't know, that seems odd.
Yeah, they only tried it for a year, and it was, it had about the results that were kind of expected of, like, different orchestras, different bands, different choirs were all at like different performing levels. So it was like one teacher's job to be like, all right, these 5 kids from Union, these 2 kids from Central, these 3 kids from Creston, these 5 people from wherever are now in our choir.
Wow.
And
That's
it's
wild.
like, okay, where are you at? Like, what, let's figure out sections. Let's figure out, rep. Let's figure out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's probably
Just so messy.
yeah, like different skill levels, different levels of proficiency, and yeah, how do you manage that?
And those moments too where, like, someone comes in and they were the first chair clarinet at their school, but now they're 4th. And it's like,
Yeah.
just that little psychological shift of like, I've never felt like I was 4th chair.
Right.
Like, having to, like, all these, it's like, no, it's just because it's, comparatively across all schools, like, you don't take private lessons, this person does, that's why they sound better. Like,
Okay.
it was like having to kind of just figure out the common ground between all these different schools. And then it was still weird because, like, I don't even remember how we competed, like, or how we did solo, not like, where was it, just like the hub band or was
Right.
it like City High School mixed hub band, or
Yeah,
like,
that's the other thing too. It's like you don't really have an allegiance to your one school. You're like this, conglomerate of, this melting pot of other schools. So it's like you can't call yourself a Falcon or whatever the mascot is. So yeah, that's
right.
interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, if anything, it showed, a lot of people, like, to put an obstacle in front of the arts or sports or something, like, people are gonna, it's gonna affect everybody. It's not just gonna, like, someone might be, a great person, like, oh, they play soccer and they're a great soccer player, and they also, are second chair trumpet and they sound good on trumpet. And then, it's like, whatever they pick, something's gonna suffer.
Yeah.
Like, they can't do both. Like, there's no way to like still keep that same soccer player on the team, but also keep the same trumpet player in the band. Like, he's gonna have to pick one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's tough, man.
So yeah, I see, like, at least, talking with different people in Michigan, some friends of mine around the country who are just in different random schools in different cities, and everyone's got, like, different budgets, different access to technology, different access to internet, different, provided assets versus things they've had to learn and, like, create for their
Yeah.
students. Like it's just been a lot of like how do we retool this education system in a way that no one's had to really think about?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. 'Cause every school has probably more funds, right? More money flowing through it for different programs, depending on how big the school is. And I know like at East Kentwood High School, they have. I mean, it's a huge school. It's like one of the biggest schools in the state of Michigan. So they have all this
Right.
fun and this huge talent pool, so they can have these obscure sports that aren't at other schools, like lacrosse, let's say, or they have they've got like 7 choirs. So it's like you can I mean, and they're all different levels too, so, and they've got like 5 or 6 different band and orchestras, and it's like you have just an abundance of opportunity, where as if you're in like a small farm country rural school where you might only have 1 choir, 1 band. They might not even have other sports other than football and basketball. They might not have like a soccer or whatever. So yeah, it's you have to take that in consideration too, if you're dealing with kids coming from different schools coming together that have different financial access. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, how do you manage that?
And I think of my one friend in Texas. His school got hit by a tornado,
Oh,
and the whole building is now, it's still in repair, and the school itself moved to a building that's like an hour away from where the school was located before. So now
wow.
it's like the people who were already like, it like, oh, we at least we have the bus, we can get them to school because we can't make the drive with a schedule. Now it's people like want to do the in-person thing or have the in-person thing happen, but they just can't make that extra hour, 2 hours, like actually, yeah, 4 hours of driving, like there and back
Yeah.
twice, like to drop off someone and pick them up. Like that's a
Oh,
lot of driving.
oh my God. Yeah, you can't expect anybody to do that. I know
Yeah.
when I was in high school, I'm from the Ludington, Scottsville area, and we moved from San Diego when I had just finished up my 8th grade year, and we moved to Scottsville. And my parents drove me to Manistee, which was about a half-hour drive one way to go to school. And I mean, every day, 5 days a week throughout the whole school year, and that gets old, man. So they ended up taking us out of that school and putting us in public school, and we had city transportation and all that. But yeah, I can't imagine commuting an hour one way. That's just nuts.
Yeah, that's like you'd want to change like where you work so you can
Yeah,
like, oh, drop off my kid and then I'll be in the town that their school's in working, and then I'll
right.
pick them up and go home.
Yeah, no kidding. You'd have to like plan out or restructure your whole life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing that, and then also seeing like the people that like I have a friend who just got hired by a company as kind of a social media and marketing person, but the company's based in like I think in I think it's a California based company, but they hired her because of similar work she was already doing just for her own like health and wellness yoga brand type thing.
Mhm.
Um, and I thought that was interesting that like, you know, there are those interesting like jobs. I mean, I don't know how interesting marketing is, but like just like being able to apply for like, oh, I can apply for a job in California but still live and work in Michigan. And
Yeah, right.
I just think about the the I don't know, the logistics of all that, and like will they ever be physically in the same room as any of that other team, or will it just always be a remote working relationship? Or
I know it's weird. It's weird. But I mean, if anything, this pandemic has proven that a lot of these jobs can be done remotely, and they can be done well, and you can be productive. And so, I mean, I don't have firsthand experience, but I know that a lot of these like commercial buildings are vacant right now because everybody's working from home. And I guess it saves the company money because they're not paying, for the lease every month to have, their hundreds of workers come in. They all work from home. So, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting how that like work environment has shifted from in person. You have this communal kind of thing going on at the workplace to being isolated in your home and you're doing all your work there. It's kind of crazy. But that's just not how it works for the music industry so much, right? I mean, we can do virtual performances, but it's like in person. We have to have performances in front of people, right? We have to, because you feed off of that energy, and vice versa. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a whole, because I see those people who, like, as independents, they have, like they can exist on Instagram and that's their career, is they just have a really good Instagram following, and that's where they get all their work and all their, that's where they can post things and have other companies see engagement. And then there's, the vast majority of musicians who they don't want to just be in their living room. Like they want to be on a stage, they want to be in a club, they want to go somewhere that's outside of, what they're normally used to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like, gosh, back when we first got locked down, we were just thinking like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Because we can't play anywhere. Our all the places that we usually play are closed down. So we did a couple of those virtual performances, but it's like, it's just not the same, man. I mean, we had like a virtual tip jar and everything, and people tuned in and watched, but it's like you're just playing to a camera, and I know there's people on the other end of that camera watching you, but you don't get that same interaction. There's not like applause and singing along from people in the crowd, and it's just like, I don't know, we got discouraged like quickly, like after the first couple. We're like, okay, we're not gonna do this anymore. and then we were kind of quiet for a couple months. We did a lot of those online collaborative things, collaborating with other musicians. And a friend of mine, Jake Millama, he's a singer in a band called the Union Guns. They're a country cover band. He put on this online virtual concert series called Quarantine Nights, and like a bunch of people like recorded themselves performing. They submitted the videos to him, and he did kind of like he was the host, so he'd kind of talk about who the performer was and what song they're doing, and kind of give like a backstory. And people put together these elaborate like music videos. It was really cool. And it's like every week it's like it got amped up, everybody put more effort into it, more production value, and it was really cool. Like my buddy Kevin Tree, he covered this song from oh my gosh, what's that kung fu movie on Netflix? It's kind of new.
Not, oh no, that's a series. I'm thinking of Cobra Kai.
Oh no, I love that show though. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, there's this like really awesome, like, oh, hang on. You still there?
Yes.
Okay. I had another FaceTime call come in. Anyway, he did this cover, and it's like this 80s version or 80s style with like synthesizers and the electronic drums and stuff. And he put together this awesome music video where he had like 80s images in the background, and it was with Danielle Cosby too. She was part of the collaboration.
Oh, nice.
And it was just really fun, man. I played a guitar solo, so they had me in like this. They had this effect that's kind of like the Aha Take On Me video, where it's like pencil drawing animation.
Oh yeah, yep.
It was cool, man. I'll send you the link afterwards, but anyway, so like this series that Jake Malama put on, it was just so fun to see everybody put in so much effort into their performances and their music videos, and I don't know, it was just really cool. And then it got warm out, and then like everybody went outside, and that was it for the online stuff.
Yeah, that's where like I know that there's, streaming is just a thing that, people will figure out how much or how little of it they want to do with what they're creating.
Yeah.
Some people might not want to do it at all. And I've always been, just fascinated by like, how do these people make, like, people doing the most niche things in like a streaming sense, like, like speed running video games. Like, not a lot of people are going to watch that, but a lot more people watch that than, you'd think. And
dude, it's crazy. Millions of views, right?
Yeah, like millions of views, and like people can just build, like, there's a dude who just builds his career off of like, he speed runs certain games, and then he does these like ridiculous like ROM hacks of like, classic games. And it's like, that dude just like, he spent maybe $1,000 on computer equipment, and now he's just making money off of like streaming, getting those subs, getting donations, and then clipping stuff in different, presentations for YouTube, and then getting ad revenue off of the YouTube, and then, partnering with brand deal type stuff. And I'm just like, it's like, this is just a dude in his room.
Yeah.
And he's able to like have like that, like, not saying that I'd want to like only exist in my room, but like to have like your room be a thing that you click on a couple things, and like suddenly there's enough people watching where it feels like it's fun, it's part of a career thing. It's, I don't know, it's like, that's, or to like, just, if there was another lockdown situation like that, to know that you flick on your bedroom light and now you have an income.
Isn't that crazy how that is like a source of income, like posting videos like that? Like, so I mean, we haven't really dove too much into that realm of online stuff and making money off it, but like, have you had some success with all the online social media stuff that you do?
Yeah, it's growing. I know I need to like do I guess research, but like watch and learn some more tips and tricks, because it is, from what I've gathered, it's always a process. It never happens overnight unless you like have enough money to like pour into it for advertising and like a certain quality right out of the gate.
Right.
And I think of like two examples that I always am like, fascinated by, among many. I always mention Mr. Beast as like, how is this a business model, where he like in high school started doing these random like, like, I'm going to read the dictionary, and then you just read the dictionary on stream, and there'd be like, a bunch of people watching just because it was like a meme, or like it was just some weird thing to like hang out with for 5 hours. And then he like went from that to like, all of his videos are these like, all of his YouTube videos are like big spectacles that he expects to, trend on YouTube, go viral, get like, 15 plus million hits on a video. And they're always like, like, we ordered a pizza and tipped the delivery driver the house. And you're like, how you bought a house to tip someone with? And I'm like, where does the money come back out of that? Like, how?
Yeah.
It's like,
oh my gosh.
He's like such a strange, because it, in terms of how he films it, it's very YouTube, like, you know, it's loud and it's got like certain types of cuts and certain edits that make it like feel like a YouTube video. But just the cost, like there's one he spent $1 million on lottery tickets, and he's just like, we're gonna see how much we win back. And it was like, what? Just got like trucks full of like lottery tickets.
That's insane. What was the result? Did he end up winning at least his money back?
He only made I think he made 3/4 of his money.
Okay.
So he lost about, what would that be? $250,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is like he's crazy. And then I think of someone like the exact opposite in terms of production level, Tim Dillon, this comedian. He, you know, his podcast is the 4th biggest show on Patreon, and he makes about $124,000 a month. And all it is just him talking. It's him and his producer, and sometimes there's a guest, and it's just him entertaining.
Oh my gosh. I want to do that. I want his job. I want to make 140 just talking.
Yeah, I'm like, that's like, he's really funny and insightful and can get a little wild with certain guests, but it's like it's such a moment too of like, because I guess growing up he went from like, he was a child actor who was like in, you know, Sesame Street and other stuff, Broadway touring productions, and then that got burned out at 13, and he kind of bummed around with friends, just like getting addicted to cocaine and you know, just like this chunk of his life. Then he got into real estate, and that kind of enhanced his addiction while also, you know, giving him access to like the housing market. And he like blew up all his credit trying to, like, he sold himself a subprime mortgage, and when the market crashed, he couldn't afford to stay at his house, and he just kind of abandoned it and like lived for like, you know, I think he started comedy at like 25 and then spent years just like, you know, he was a tour bus driver, and he'd riff and like work on his material on the tour bus, and he'd do club work most nights out of the week. And then he started the podcast like 4 years ago, and it's just grown into like his main income.
Wow, man, that's like the modern dream right now. It's like, if you could be like a YouTube sensation and make your money that way, dude, you've made it. You know? Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's wild. Wow.
And I see the YouTubers with like, you know, like the Paul brothers are a great example of like, they're not a great example of humanity, but they're a great example of like being the types of people who like, they're somehow able to like reinvent how they present themselves. You know, like Jake Paul is, you know, multiple times tried to like sell a education scam to like children who want to be YouTube influencers. And Logan Paul, like, you know, famously posted that video where he went to Japan, and they went to the quote unquote suicide forest, and they took a video, or they took a vlog video in the forest and found, you know, someone who was dead in the video, and posted it in the video, in the thumbnail. And,
Wow.
you know, just that moment of like, you're not a real human being. And then now all he's done, he grew a beard, he's got a podcast, and he's doing MMA. And now people are like, he's changed. It's only been 2 years, but he's changed.
Oh
So it's like people with an audience, you know, in the negative sense, like, okay, you know, Jake Paul can produce music and be a boxer because he's got millions of 12-year-olds following his YouTube antics. But then like, if you are like, you know, a regional dude who's got, you know, 100,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers, like, that's still, you know, that's enough people to like, oh, if I put merch out, a chunk might buy the merch. If I put music out, people buy the music.
Yeah,
if I
that's a
do
solid
a
following.
live stream, yeah, it's like people can grow an audience without well, I guess like, yeah, growing an audience online without having to go on tour, but you also kind of want to go on tour because it's, you know, physical interaction. But
Yeah,
I just think it's interesting that people have like, you know, the bare minimum setup and they built an empire.
I know. That's amazing. Yeah, the new American dream, become a TikTok YouTuber, making
Yeah,
thousands.
yeah. I don't even know. Like TikTok fame looks weird right now. It feels like Snapchat fame, where it's just like, what do you do with that short of time? Like,
Oh, I
is
know.
it
It's like
you
second.
just move around and that's it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's beyond me. I have not gotten into the TikTok realm. So I like to watch TikTok, like on Instagram and you know, whatever pops up in my newsfeed, but I don't even have the app on my phone. So
Yeah, it's well, yeah, it's like, you know, I remember one of the B-side session panels. It had this professor at Syracuse University who, like, part of what he teaches is social media stuff to musicians, and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm using TikTok to like it pays a significant chunk of my my student loan debt. And I'm like,
nice.
but you're like in your like 40s. Like, how do you use TikTok?
Yeah,
He's like, I
right.
thought it was for like 13-year-olds.
Yeah. Dude, that's like, I wonder if that's gonna become like course curriculum in the near future for you know, universities. Like how to market yourself through, you know, social media outlets. Like that's one of the things that I wish was offered at like a Grand Valley. You know, there wasn't any kind of marketing class, or you know, how do you sell yourself as a musician other than like audition for an orchestra or something, you know, or become a teacher. Like I don't know about you, but like I kind of learned that stuff on my own, like how to run a business and how to market the band and all that stuff. Like or you know, how to handle finances. I mean, I'm sure a business class could have handled that, but that's just something that's not in the course curriculum when you're a music student. And maybe it is at other schools, but not in my experience. Are you, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I didn't see anything when I was at Grand Valley, and then I also brought it up at Western because I was like, why aren't they teaching this type of class? And I think Keith Hall tried to teach it for like a semester, and they were like, we don't have the extra money to like throw out this extra class. That, you know, it wasn't mandated, so not a lot of people signed up, but it's something that should just be part of curriculum, because there's, you know, I feel like the old mentality is like, you get really good at your instrument, you get connected to the parts of the industry or the services, like, oh, you won't have to worry about those things because you'll get so good at your instrument, you'll be able to go on a touring band or like get in a symphony
Right.
job or get, you know, a great job as a professor or instructor somewhere. And
Yeah.
now it's like you almost need like some, even if it's one platform, like you need somewhere on the internet where people can find you and interact with you and see things you're doing. And it's like companies, I feel like companies now going forward, I don't know for how long, you think of like companies taking risks on like new artists or new creative types. They're just extending the list of like, okay, you need to have a certain amount of like engagement, you need to have built your own thing before we can comfortably take you on as a you know, an artist or
Yeah, right.
someone on
Yeah,
a team.
yeah, it's kind of like you have to put in the work, like the grassroots type effort before, as like a prerequisite before they take you on, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like One thing I wanted to ask you, like, okay, so who designs like your merchandise? Because that's another thing that my band is getting into right now. We're getting new merchandise, and we're gonna have an online store, and we're finally gonna like apply for the the Michigan taxes, and we want to do it right instead of, because like what we did in the past with merchandise is we basically write it off as an expense and like give them away or sell it at cost, so we're not really making any money on it. Like, so like who designs your merchandise, and how do you go about selling it? Do you have like an online store? I think you have an online store, or like walk me through that.
Yeah, so right now we have, the artwork is mainly done by Sky Black. He's one of Justin's Abdec's childhood friends, and he's like an artist that his life is like, a city in Switzerland wants a mural painted, and they hire Sky to just be there for a month and paint a mural. Or he'll make a bunch of canvas paintings and do like a gallery showing, but he'll make like the album art that we use and print onto shirts. We've been using Brownlee Press for like stickers, smaller items, if we need posters printed. And we use Citizen shirt for all of our prints, because they're really good at, if we can ask them like, hey, we're doing a pre-order for this shirt design, what is the minimum that you need to like make it worth printing an order? Like, how many do we need to sell at a minimum? And we've worked that out with them, where we're able to like, okay, it's like we have 15 pre-orders, we need 20 to make the thing, we'll add 5 extra shirts, and that way we know like most of the shirts are being sold. But we've also used them for larger batch orders. And we have an online store attached to our website, and we use Bandcamp's store mainly as another place to sell the music, but we put merch on there for like Bandcamp Fridays, since they waive all the middleman fees on those days. So It's like a pop-up store for people who want to know that every $1 plus shipping is going to the band.
Yeah, cool. Okay, interesting, dude. I love the merch with your face on it. I think that's so so cool. You really do have like at least in West Michigan, like an iconic face, like oh, I know who that is. Yeah, man, it's really cool. What are you doing?
Thanks. Yeah, I was just thinking of like what or we need to get more prints of those shirts, and it reminded me of this band that came through Founders, the Wild Adriatic. I think they're normally a 4-piece, but they were a trio that night, and each band member designed a shirt around kind of their appearance, and the bass player had an afro, and his shirt said "Fro Choice."
That's great. I bet did his shirt sell more than the other band members?
Yeah, I definitely bought a shirt, and yeah, it was like that. The shirt design, it actually wasn't my idea. It was Justin's idea, because I had the design from this artist. I think it's Nick Naughty, Naoti. I think he's from Iowa, but he was doing like a donation, like if you make a donation to the Bernie Sanders campaign, I'll draw a self-portrait and you can use it for whatever. And so I did that and got a self-portrait.
That's awesome, dude. I feel like I gotta try that. I gotta have like everybody in the band have a t-shirt maybe with their face on it and see how well they sell. It was funny. Steph, he sings and he plays violin and trumpet in the band, I think somebody had made it for him, but they made like a cartoon image of his face and gave it to him as a gift, and he would wear it all over the place. And it was funny because like the reactions you get from him. And of course, I had pictures of him, with his face shirt on, and he's making the same expression on the face, like with his real face. And it's funny, man. I feel like, does that shirt sell well for you? I mean, have you sold a lot of those face shirts?
We've only done pre-orders, and each time we'll get a few, and the real test would be if we because we have 6 different color options now, so it's like if we get a bunch of, we'd have to get a bunch of shirts to get like a good amount in each size.
Yeah.
So they sold really well in the fall. There's still some that are left over that we're trying to get rid of, but that's kind of where we're trying to figure out our marketing a little bit better, and getting more things in front of people who haven't already seen that we have a store or have certain kinds of merch, like getting it on a wider audience. And I think there's a way. I know there's a way for like business Instagram accounts to get like the little shop icon in the corner of an image. So I want to figure that out. So if we post, merch, people could just click right on it and buy it rather than,
go to the website and go through all the tabs and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, which it's so funny that it's like that's how you have to set it up for. It's like it's like, okay, go to this website. Nope, I'm already done. I just want to click on it, and then it's already at checkout.
Yeah, dude, I'm guilty of doing that. Like on Instagram,
Yeah.
I'll find something that's really cool. I'm like, oh, I want that, and then boom, I have it sent to me the next week or so. And it's just like such an impulsive buy, right? Like I would have never bought that on any given day, but because I saw it in my Instagram feed and it looked cool, they had, great marketing, great video, whatever presentation. It's like, boom, I want that. like recently, I bought these stupid little, like they're glow in the dark balls and they're sticky, and you throw them on the ceiling and they come back down and you catch them. I bought them thinking I was going to use them like late at night when I'm just like laying in bed trying to go to sleep. I never used them. I mean, I just bought it because the video that they had on the Instagram page was cool.
Yeah.
Take my $12.
Yeah, here, I did that with actually with the pillow cube. I bought the wider pillow cube pillow, and it's actually really comfortable. So
okay,
I was like, cool, that was a good purchase.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we've become such a like an impulsive society. It's like you just click buy. Like, I mean, that's what Amazon is, right? I mean, that we don't need to go to the stores anymore. We don't need to go to the mall to buy things. We just find it on Amazon. It's so much more convenient, So
yeah, and it's also like it's that thing that people who the people's imagination of like what it means to have like a huge fortune or something. They're like, oh, they don't have to do everything. They have other people doing things for them. So that's like Instacart for some people is like, oh, I don't need to grocery shop. I'll have someone else pick that up. Or like, oh, I'll have food delivered. I'll have products. I'll never have to do anything. But it's like not the same as like, it's like eventually you're going to be like, I've spent a lot of money getting people to do other things for me.
Right. When it's like, oh, what happened to the days of just getting in your car and going to the store and hunting for things, searching for things, finding things you might, think are cool that you wouldn't have found otherwise. But yeah, that's how it is. I mean, this whole pandemic has done that, man. Like, I'm guilty of using, what is it? What's the Meyer service where you order online and they, you can pick it up or get delivered.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember the
something.
name. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now. But or like, Uber Eats, because you don't want to go out and get the food yourself. And I don't know, it's just kind of become that way for us. We're just like, I don't know if we're lazy or, well, obviously with the pandemic, we don't want to be out in public places, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's a different world. Different world, sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely like, it's this past year is like, if you haven't learned something, like whether it's about yourself or about how things are working in your community, or how, just like, or like what your career shift looks like, or what, learning a new skill, a new hobby, like,
Yeah.
Everyone has the varying degree of like, they were either like nothing changed because of my certain job thing, or like other people, I had to change entire career paths, or I had to, like, I was on unemployment for months and just searching for work. It's like, everyone has their version of like, but I also learned how to do this, or I learned that sleep is good. I learned that, or turns out.
Yeah, man. I don't know about you, but like I've found that, like my fiance, she's like super social, and before the pandemic, she had this huge friend circle, and she would always like go to these social events and hang out with these different friend groups. And what has happened with the pandemic is that friend group has downsized like considerably. So now between two of us, we have this core group of friends that we see on a regular basis, and rather than quantity, we have like quality friendships, right? We don't have just acquaintances. We have like this core group of a really tight knit group of people, which I like. I like not having to be in so many different places, trying to spread out my time amongst so many different people. I don't know. How's it for you?
Yeah, it's because it's always kind of been that way a little bit for me, just having, the focal point friends, the ones that I see, like bandmates, certain friends that I'm still close with, people that like I would normally be able to connect with. I could, or friends that I could still like call up at whatever day and chat. And even though it's like a long distance friendship, it's still, talk to them more regularly than some people in the city.
Yeah.
I did notice that, because it also it kind of put a laser point on like, oh yeah, like this person is gonna be super busy with like how they're doing, or this person just had a kid, or this person, they just bought a house. And it's like, you start to have those moments of like, oh yeah, and that's why they haven't texted me in forever, is because they're raising another human being, or
Right.
or they like renovating a house for the summer or something.
Yeah. I know, man. The joys of becoming an adult.
Yeah. just cutting out some of the friends and just narrowing it down to it's like people who, I always look for the people who I can sit comfortably in like a backyard with. Like if I can't do that, then it's like, okay, I don't know what we could do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to. It's always weird having, I feel like I haven't entertained as many of the friends that have like specific interests. It's like, oh, this is the friend who loves this thing, and whenever we get together, we always do that. And it's like, but I don't want to do that. So.
Yeah. It's more just like people you can chill with, right? Just kind of hang out, and just chat, or not even do that. Just sit around, right? Like sometimes, like I enjoy just sitting in silence, not having to spark up conversation. It's just like, oh man, this is nice to just like kind of meditate in quiet.
Yeah. It's like I just do nothing, but there's people doing nothing, so it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
Yeah. I've gotten, well, especially with this last year, more used to like finding ways to entertain myself, or if I have, or like be creative with like how I'm interacting with friends, if because everyone has different like, oh, I feel comfortable, or I'll wait till everything's vaccinated, or everyone has to be vaccinated in the room, or everyone's
Right.
got their different comfort level.
Sure.
So that's seeing the people who are flexible to that to some degree. It's like I see those people more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah.
Well, dude, I'm just so excited to be busy again. Like, I mean, like for a while, it was just like seriously just sitting at home playing my PlayStation. You got PS5, which I'm so jealous. Like, I want one. How's that treating you, by the way?
Really good. I think the only like PS5 show, because there's not a ton of like native PS5
Right.
games right now, but the one that was really interesting to look at was Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that just the way that the light and the physics and the like loading times are super fast. Like it feels like I'm able to like it feels like if I'm sitting down to play a game, I'm not having to wait super long for like a thing to update or load, or and some of it's been nice too to have some of the games that I haven't gotten to play yet that were on PS4 that I want to replay, like the things that get kind of up-resed for the PS5 version.
Right.
It's like, oh, this feels like a new game because I have this controller that interacts differently, and
right.
Updated performance.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on one. I just you can't buy them anymore. They're just not available.
Yeah, and I even had a whole ordeal with when I got mine. I had pre-ordered it and I got mine like day of, and they sent me the wrong edition, and I had to ship it back and wait.
Yeah, because you ordered the disc version, right? And you got the wire. What is it? The non-disc version.
Yeah,
like,
the digital.
Yeah, digital only. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because the it's like the whole reason I got wanted the disc one was because you can put certain PS4 discs in there, and it's like, oh, that's perfect. I could play some of the games I haven't played on PS4. I could just play them on the PS5.
Yeah. Well, even like maybe I'm old school, but I like having a physical copy of a game.
Oh yeah.
Rather than just the digital version. And also, if I have friends that have a digital or a physical copy, I can borrow that game and play it on my console. You can't really do that. There's no sharing ability with digital only content.
Yeah.
So not that I'm aware of anyway. But yeah, man, I'm jealous. I want one.
Yeah, I've been playing this game that, what was it? Control is the name of the game. Yeah. I had no idea. I had only heard that it was a surprise, like fun game, and it was like a third person shooter. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, I love how it's like, it's like you kind of stumble into like this weird, like secret. It's like a secret government building that's just dealing with like weird paranormal, like stuff, and the map is weird because it's like a building that's going through like different dimensional shifts, so like things are you when you access certain like fast travel points, it like resets parts of the map, so it's easier to like, oh, instead of going down this thing, taking an elevator, going all the way over here, taking another elevator back up, the wall shifted back and there's a door there now. or
Yeah.
like, oh, instead of instead of having to travel, the normal schematic of the building is this, there's this like part that's like a hallway that is, it's like a rift, and you just go through that and like, oh, now we're on the other part of this map.
Yeah, I downloaded that game. I got probably a half hour in, and then I bought Cyberpunk, and that consumed all my. So I got to revisit Control. It did seem like a really cool game, but yeah, I dumped a lot of hours into Cyberpunk when it first came out, and it's quite good, despite all the bugs. I mean, I know that game got a lot of flack for being buggy, but I don't know, on a PS4 Pro, I didn't really run into a lot of problems. So have you played that game?
I haven't played it yet, but it's one. I always like with those kind of games. It's like, all right, if I'm gonna get it, this is gonna be my game for like months.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to like just sink into it.
Yeah, man. You really have to dive into that game, and it consumes you. I mean, it's easy to get lost in that game. It's easy to. I mean, like, you could just be wandering around and you're picking up, you're doing these little side quests, and 3 hours go by. It's like, whoa, I didn't even get anywhere. Really, I just did like side quests. I didn't do any main missions, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just been dancing around this story and just doing races with the car, like doing, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I can talk about video games all day.
Yeah. That's also kind of why I made, like, I've tiptoed into having another outlet of like what is it, Dutcher Plays is the we'll call it the branding, but
I
wanted just like like just to have like a spot where it's like, all right, I'll stream card collecting things, video game related stuff, like just it's separate from, it's like a hobby channel type thing.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward. I'm kind of kicking it off with I'm going to stream Resident Evil 7, and then once Resident Evil 8 comes out, I'm going to start streaming it the following Monday, because that game looks nuts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That'll be fun. I gotta pick that up.
Yeah, just the gothic setting and the weird vampire people, and just like, I want to know like what's going on in this weird town where there's apparently werewolves.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. Oh, and you get to play it on a PS5 too.
Yeah. in high definition of 4K whatever frame rate. I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is great chat. Great,
man. That was fun. We kind of ran the gamut of topic.
Yeah. Luckily, the podcast is like, it's pianists and keyboardists and whoever just talking about whatever, and that's
casual.
That's all. Yeah, it's just fun and casual. Where, I guess, can people find, because what Brena is up to? I'm sure you have some public things.
We do. So I recently posted on our Facebook page all the public performances that you can catch the band. That ranges from places like the Score, the Deck, the Dockers, those are in Muskegon. Summer concerts that are happening this summer. Just various public performances. So you can find that on our Facebook page. Just search Brena Band, and then you can also go to our website, brenaband.com. And we have Instagram and pretty much all that stuff. I don't think we don't have a TikTok yet. maybe we will. But yeah, you can find all of our shows there. And I cannot wait to play like in front of people again. like outside and like miss it, man. It's like, I don't know about you, but like I feel like my whole sense of purpose was like taken away for a while. It's like, what do I do? You know?
Yeah, it definitely felt like, yeah, it's like even with, you know, having other things I could focus time and energy into, it was like, you know, you get to that point of like, I want to have the momentum I had in 2019 where it was like, oh, we got, you know, I'm playing shows at different venues. I have some festivals. Like I'm actually working my way into, you know, like that part of the scene, but also meeting a lot of audience people around the state and around the Midwest and like building that rapport and to have it just for like a whole year.
I know. Crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, cheers to hopefully, you know, eradication of this virus and we can get back to normal. We'll see.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
But man, it's been a pleasure. Yeah. Thanks for the call. Thanks for setting this up.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, I'll come see you play, you know, around town sometime. And
yeah.